I hope everyone had a chance to do the homework, and I hope it was easier than the previous one. Means each time it should get a little easier while it gets harder. Means the things you've done before should be easier, and the things that are new, that's okay if they're hard, right? So, I hope everyone's comfortable with pronouns. Pronouns, remember,
Yeah.
are words that replace nouns, and they must match the noun that they are replacing in case, gender, and number. And the pronouns I and you do not have a gender. Is I masculine or feminine or neuter? There would be a big fight if there was a gender for I and you. No gender for I and you. Okay? All right. Then we saw also verbs are doing words. Anything that you do is a verb. And in Sanskrit, one main thing you must remember about verbs is that the they must agree with the subject in person and number. Meaning, if our subject is I, the verb has to be first person. If the subject is you, the verb has to be second person. And if the subject is he, she, that, like that, it it has to be third person. This is a rule. They have to match. They also have to match in singular, dual, plural. Meaning if it is two of us or two of you or all of them, it must match. The other thing we saw was how beautiful Sanskrit is in the way that it is built and how it changes our vision. A Sanskrit root, is what is used to build the words that we use. And by using verbs, we're reminding ourselves that by seeing the verb root that it comes from, we're reminded about how everything in this universe has a function, not just a form, but also a specific function. Okay? It changes the way you see the world. Now I wanted to tell you all something about the sentence order before we review our sentence homework. See this first sentence? Ramaha vanam gacchati. What is our subject? No, what is our verb? I hope that everyone is able to recognize gacchati. The ti ending is the verb. Gacchati, ti is third person. No. You don't even need to look for the verb to know, the subject to know. This is a third person singular verb. That means you are looking for a subject now that is singular. What is our subject? This should be super easy now. Ramaha, the first word you ever learned. Ramaha. First case singular masculine. Okay. And then what is the next word? Vana. So if there's already a single subject, then vanam has to be the object. Even though because it is neuter, it could be first case, it has to be second case. Okay. So this means, what does this mean? I hope everybody knows. Rama is Rama, Vanam is forest, and Gachati is to go. So this will mean Rama goes to, remember goes to is like the verb. Goes to. When you have the gum, what you would normally call fourth case is second case. Goes to the forest. Right? Okay. Now tell me the meaning of this second one. Vanam Ramaha Gachati. What is our verb? This should be fast. Gachati. Third person singular. What is our subject? Not a trick question. Subject is Ramaha. First case, singular, masculine. And what is our object? Vani. Second case, singular, neutral. So what does this sentence mean? Actually, it means the exact same thing. Rama goes to the forest. Isn't it? This is goes to, gachati. Who goes? Rama. Where does he go? Forest. Simple? Okay. Now last one. Gachati Ramaha Vanam. Where is our verb? Same. Third person singular. Where is our subject? Same. First person singular masculine. Where is our object? Same. Second case singular neutral. And the meaning? Verb is gachati, goes. Who goes? Rama goes. Where does he go? Vana, forest. So that means that the meaning of this sentence is Rama goes to the forest. Now, what does that tell you about Sanskrit sentence order? It means that it does not matter what order you put the sentences, the words in a sentence in. And this is a very, very, very big difference between English and Sanskrit. In English, the meaning of the word is conveyed by the order, the meaning of the sentence is conveyed by the order of the words. For example, Hanumanji eats a dal puri. What is our verb? Eats. Who eats? Hanumanji. First case singular, masculine. So our verb is third person singular. What does he eat? A dal puri. Second case singular, puri, I don't know what gender it is, right? Now, Hanumanji eats a dal puri. Okay. If I change the order of this sentence and it becomes a dal puri eats Hanumanji. What does it mean now? Everybody is laughing. You cannot speak like this in English because the meaning is conveyed by the order of words and the way they're placed in a sentence. You cannot say Hanumanji dal puri eats either. You cannot say eats dal puri Hanumanji. You cannot say eats Hanumanji dal puri. But in Sanskrit, we could do that. This exact thing we just did, the order was completely mixed up and switched up, but the meaning was maintained. And the meaning is maintained because Sanskrit does not rely on word order to convey meaning in a sentence. Sanskrit relies on the case endings to convey the meaning of a sentence. It doesn't matter where in the sentence the verb is, where in the sentence the subject is, where in the sentence the object is, it will always give you the same meaning. For somebody who's going from English to Sanskrit, this may sound rather strange. What do you mean? Tell me what's the order of the sentence. Okay, we'll tell you the order of a sentence in prose that is generally followed. No problem. There is a general prose order, but it is not necessary to communicate the meaning of the sentence. Okay? Now, before I tell you what that order is, let me tell you why this is so amazing. It is so amazing because remember, Sanskrit is used for Shastra. And Shastra a lot of our shastras are given in the form of meter and in poetry. And in meter, a certain rhythm is followed. In meter, you have certain short vowels and certain long vowels in different places. So what happens when you can move words around is the same sentence can be jumbled up to fit a meter. And when it fits a meter, then that verse becomes locked. Nobody can change the meaning of it or change the words in it because it is locked in a specific number of syllables in a specific way. So it is protected. The message is protected by the words being wherever they are, but the meter being as it is, the message of the verse is protected, encoded, locked. Is that not so cool? And it is also easier to remember things in meter than it is to remember things in sentences. So this is the genius of the Sanskrit language, that yes, when you start case endings, they're a little complicated to begin with if you're not familiar with them. But once you learn them, you don't need order of a sentence anymore. That whole thing becomes obsolete when you realize the transformative way in which case endings can be used. So we use case endings, and it gives us the ability to enter a world of poetry and meter and all of that, right? So that is why case endings are so amazing, and that is a very big difference between Sanskrit and English. So now I'm going to tell you the general way in which in prose you will find a sentence, but I'm putting a clause. In class, if you make the order a little wrong, you're not going to be marked wrong. It doesn't matter, right? You get a general order correct and you're good to go. The main thing is getting the words themselves. Oh, the other thing in this regard is because words will be jumbled up, and sometimes they will be, oh, I'm not sure what this means. Like, which one is the verb? Which one is the subject? Which one is the object? Is this, few, vaguenesses? Not vaguenesses. Sometimes there will be lack of clarity. And that is another reason why having a guru to study Shastra is indispensable. Because when things are not clear, the Guru Parampara is the one that tells us this is what it means. Right? So you cannot study it yourself, you must study it with the Guru. That's another reason why. I mean, Guru is indispensable for infinite reasons, but that is just one more reason why. Okay, now let us see. I'll tell you, I will send this to you. Don't need to write it. Just read. I'm going to read through it. Make sure you understand it. Okay? In English, the meaning of a sentence is primarily conveyed by word order. But in Sanskrit, the meaning is conveyed by case endings. Does that make sense? That is what I just told. Right? Word order, Hanumanji eats a dosa. What is eaten is determined by the placement of what comes before and after the verb. Now, thus, if the words are rearranged in Sanskrit, the meaning is still the same. We saw that also. Meaning is still the same. Sanskrit generally uses the following order in prose: subject, object, verb. That means this first sentence is the traditional presentation in prose. Subject, Ramaha. Object, Vanam. Gachati, verb. Subject, object, verb. This will be the traditional presentation in a prose order sentence. Okay. Now, in English, what is the order usually? Subject, verb, object. So Sanskrit, English is called an SVO language usually, in short form. And Sanskrit is called SOV, subject, object, verb. Huh? So we're using SOV. You don't need to remember that, just technicality for fun. But now listen, this is something I didn't talk about yet. Now, other cases. So now you have subject, object, verb, but that's not the only thing you have in a sentence. You have so many other pieces. So this is how the rest work. Other cases generally come before the words that they qualify or limit. What does that mean? See, Hanumanji eats a dal puri. Actually, it's Hanumanji eats a puri. What kind of puri? A dal puri. So the word dal will come before puri in the sentence itself. So whatever word is there, if it is being qualified, like where is he bringing it from the house? So from the house will come in front of the word that is being described. We'll see the examples now when we do the sentences. Okay? Now let us go to our sentences. They speak words from the scriptures. What is our verb? Speak. Who speaks? They. Subject is first plural masculine, they. Therefore, verb will be third person plural, because they is plural. What do they speak? They speak words. Second case, plural, neuter. And finally, from the scriptures. So that will be fifth case, plural, neuter. Those who didn't do your homework, I can see you scrambling to write. Okay, now, translation. They is they, from sahatau they. Vadanti, they speak. So verb comes at the end. You see how it comes at the end here? What do they speak? They speak vachanani. They speak words. What kind of words? Words from the scriptures. So you'll see subject, then you'll see verb way at the end. And next to the verb, you'll see the object. And what qualifies or limits the object, they don't just speak any words. What is the limitation on the type of words? Words from Shastra. Clear? Now, so I'll tell you a trick, right? You might find the subject in the beginning. Then you will definitely find the verb at the end. Then you read backwards. Just read backwards and you'll usually get it. Not always, but usually. So they speak words from the scriptures. Okay? So you say the subject with the verb at first, and then everything else you read backward and see if it works. Okay, next. We remember the grandfather of the Pandavas and the Kauravas. What's our verb? Remember. Remember is the verb. Who remembers? We remember. So our subject is first case plural. No gender because we. First case plural. So our verb is going to be first person because I and we is first person and plural. So subject and verb match. We remember. What do we remember? We remember the grandfather. Grandfather will be second case object. Singular, masculine. And then of the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Even though it doesn't say and of the Kauravas, it is from understanding what the sentence is saying, the grandfather of the Pandavas and the grandfather of the Kauravas. Okay? So now we translate. We is Vayam, remember, Smaramaha, we remember. Then who do we remember? Pitamaham, the grandfather. What grandfather? What is the limitation on the grandfather? Not the grandfather of the world, but the grandfather of the Kauravas and the Pandavas. Pandavanam, Kauravana. Okay. Then, you two lead the heroes on the chariots. Verb, lead. Subject, you two. First case, dual. Now, lead, our verb will therefore be what person? Second person, because subject is you. How many yous? Two. So dual. You two lead. What is our object? The heroes. Second case, plural. On the chariots. 7 plural masculine. So now translate. You2 is yuvam. Verb nayataha. Now what nayataha? What do you two lead? Shuran, the heroes. What kind of heroes or what limitation on heroes? Ratheshu. Heroes that are on the chariots. Sa sukhaya devan yajati. What is our verb? Yajati. Third person singular. So now we're looking for a singular subject. What is our subject? Sa. First case singular, feminine. She worships. That is our main sentence. Huh? What does she worship? So now you see, is there any direct object? What does she worship? Devan. Devan, second plural masculine. She worships the devas. And then there's one more word there. Sukhaya. Aya is fourth case, singular, neuter. She worships the devas for joy. Oh, sorry, I translated that for you. Right? She worships the devas for joy. Now, if you wrote to joy, that's okay. But now when you try to piece the sentence together, you should say, oh, wait, for means more. It makes more sense. Okay. Te rajyasya vanat halani mulani khadanti. What is our verb? Khadanti. Trick. Look at the end and see if the verb is there. You should also read the whole sentence because there may be more than one verb. Right? Khadanti. Khadanti is third person plural. Khadanti is they eat. Now, khadanti, they eat. That means my subject is going to be plural. What is my subject? They. That means even though te has a dual option, it cannot be the dual option because my verb is plural. So this has to be plural, therefore it has to be masculine. First case masculine. First case plural masculine. Okay? They eat. What do they eat? Where is our object? Well, if they are eating, then Phalani and Mulani have to be the object. Second plural, neuter. And then everything else. Vanat, fifth case, singular, neuter. Rajyasya, sixth case, singular, neuter. Huh? So now what will this mean? We'll try and read it backwards. Te khadanti, they eat. What do they eat? Halani and mulani. They eat fruits and roots. You can put that in whichever order. Now, is there anything that qualifies the fruits and the roots? Well, they eat fruits and roots from the forest. Is there anything that qualifies the forest? Of the kingdom. So the translation will be, they eat roots and fruits from the forest of the kingdom. Okay. Now, oh, there's only one more. If you didn't do the last one, you can try and see if you can get the order correct before tomorrow. You can fix that in it. Okay. Homework for today, I'm going to send in the group okay, you finish and try to correct the order, the prose order for the sentences we didn't review. If you couldn't do the sentences because you didn't understand anything, you do them out. So that is homework number 1. Homework number 2, I am going to send a declension for you to do in masculine and a declension for you to do in neuter. And I'm going to send you a conjugation. So you're going to do, the homework is just 2 declension tables and 1 conjugation table. And the purpose of that is for you to keep getting practice, because here's the big news of the week. Thursday is test day. Thursday is test day for nouns and verbs. For these sentences, nouns and verbs, test day. Okay, actually, one more thing which we'll learn tomorrow will also be on the test. So if you're doing homework and if you're following along, it is not hard. Whatever we do in class, open book test, we will get like that only for, okay, I mean for test. Cool. So please practice these, do the homework, and I will see you all tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Okay. Hari Om.